Hello. In this video, we're going to go over SOHCAHTOA and just setting up SOHCAHTOA, finding the sine, cosine, and tangent of A or C within the triangle. So that's what we'll be doing here. Should be a nice, easy, fun little lesson. Yeah. Let's make this a decent size. There we go. Okay. First thing we need to go over is the formula of SOHCAHTOA. Now, the reason I write it like this, and most people will write it out like this, which both are okay, obviously. Now, personally, the reason I write it out like this is just because it will make more sense. As we see, what we're going to know is that the sine of theta, which will represent our angle measure, is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse side. The cosine, the cosine of theta, which is the angle again, is the adjacent, which is a fancy word to say next to, over the hypotenuse. And then we have one more where we have our tangent of theta is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. So opposite over adjacent. And remember, these are all sides. All of these guys discussed here are sides of the triangle. That is all that's happening. So now let's look at our triangle and jump straight into it. First, we're going to find sine, cosine, and tangent of A. That's what we're going to do first. And then after that, we are going to find the sine, cosine, and tangent of the other angle, which is C. Notice that the one angle I'm not going to be caring about is B. Why? That's my 90 degrees. We need that 90 degrees to even attempt this trig. We need it. So the one angle we're not concerned with or going to take trig of is the angle of the 90 degrees. Next, I'm going to label. Oh, first, let's start with A. We're going to draw two triangles here. We're going to do our A triangle, our B triangle, okay? Our C triangle. Let's move this guy over here. So we're looking at our A triangle now. The first thing I'm going to do is mark where my angle is, right? Angle A. I'm going to mark it. Next, I'm going to find the side that is opposite. So I just go across the angle. This is the opposite side. It is fully on the opposite end of the triangle. We went across to get to that angle. Next, we're going to see, hey, always across the 90 is always the hypotenuse. Always the hypotenuse, my height. So always there. And by, just eliminating our options, this must be my adjacent. Again, adjacent just means next to. The angle is next to 15, that side. It is also adjacent to the hypotenuse, but the hypotenuse already has a name. It is labeled as the hypotenuse. So the adjacent will be the side that the angle is next to that is not the hypotenuse. So let's continue. What we're going to do for sine is now that we have our hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent, we're just going to plug and chug. I know I need my opposite over hypotenuse. My opposite is 8. My hypotenuse is 17. That's it. The sine of A is equal to 8 over 17. Now let's do the cosine of A. Cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse again. Adjacent is 15. Hypotenuse is still 17. Super easy is what you're starting to notice. It's not bad at all. Remember, as long as we label and organize, these things become very simple. So then I'm going to get opposite over adjacent. And we see this is going to be 8 over 15. Very easy stuff. Let's grab all of, careful. Let's grab, okay. Let's not grab. Okay, let's try that. We're going to grab that again, and let's give it one more go. All right, so we're going to do angle C now. And here we go. First, label. Let's make this triangle a little bigger just so we can mess with it. First, please label the angle of C, all right? And then let's say what's opposite and hypotenuse. So we know that across the 90 is my hypotenuse. My longest side is my hypotenuse. Now we just need to find adjacent and opposite. Well, C is next to hypotenuse and 8. Well, that must mean CB, the 8, is my adjacent. It's next to. And thus, by process of elimination, my 15 must be my opposite. Again, across, not touching that side, must be my opposite side. The one, if it's in a triangle, the one side I'm not touching is the side that I'm opposite from. Because I'm touching two sides no matter what in an angle within a triangle. So here we are. Next, we're just going to solve it out. The sine of C is opposite again over hypotenuse. And plug and chug. Opposite is 15 over 17. The cosine of C is adjacent over hypotenuse. Plug and chug. We have 8 over 17. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, which would be 15 over 8. And that is it. That is how we solve for sine, cosine, and tangent within a triangle, right? Given those values, that's how we find them if we want to find the values for either the top angle, the bottom angle, for angle A, angle B, not the angle that we have the 90 degrees of. But that is how we do it, given an angle, given a triangle, and we can always find that third side, given two sides. We can now find all of these trig functions as well. Fun stuff. So if you have any questions, please send me an email, and I'm glad to do another video covering those questions, as well as we'll go over another video that will cover all 6 trigonometry functions. We are missing secant, cosecant, and cotangent, and they are very, very easy to deal with once we understand this stuff. So just make sure we understand this, and we're good to go. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great day.